lämnar jag ordet till min kära, fina, söta, goa favoritkamrat ifrån Ronneby. Välkommen!
Dear comrades, today, as we gather to celebrate Labor Day, let's take a moment to reflect on the state of the labor movement in Sweden. In the past year, we have witnessed an increase in inflation, low wages, and the rise of profits made by food giants. As leftists, it's our duty to speak up against these injustices and fight for the rights of workers in our country. As Milton Friedman says, inflation is taxation without legislation. The rising cost of living has had a detrimental impact on the working class in Sweden. Many workers are struggling to make ends meet, and their wages have not kept up with the increasing cost of goods and services. This is unacceptable. While the cost of living is increasing, for example, electricity, fuel, goods, and food, the government is not taking the necessary steps to address this issue. As leftists, we believe in the importance of a fair and just society where everyone has access to the basic necessities of life, and this is simply not the case in Sweden right now. Secondly, we need to address the profits made by food giants. These companies have seen record profits in recent years, while the workers have been left with low wages and poor working conditions. Henry Ford said, "It's not the employer who pays the wages. The employer only handles the money. It's the customer who pays wages." This is a clear example of the exploitation of workers for the benefit of corporate profits. It's essential that we demand that food giants pay their workers a living wage and provide them with safe working conditions. Furthermore, we must also highlight the power imbalance between workers and these corporations. The food giants have a significant amount of influence over government policies and regulations, which enables them to maintain their profits at the expense of their workers. This must end, and we must push for legislation that protects workers' rights and limits corporate influence on policymaking. Another critical issue facing workers in Sweden is the rise of precarious work. Many workers are employed on temporary contracts, which can leave them vulnerable to exploitation and abuse. These workers often lack job security, paid sick leave, and other essential benefits. We must demand that all workers are provided with the same rights and protections, regardless of their employment status. Furthermore, we must also address the disparities between different groups of workers, women, immigrants, and people of color. Those face discrimination and lower pay, and this is unlawful. And we must take action to ensure that all workers are treated fairly and equitably. From Bangladesh to Brazil to the MENA region, workers have faced tremendous challenges lately. The inflation and the hazardous economic situation in so many countries affected the division of social class. In many countries such as Lebanon and Syria, the middle class has almost disappeared, while the group of people who are below the poverty line has become huge. In addition to this, the workers who are struggling to make ends meet are not provided with any adequate personal protective equipment, hazard pay, or sick leave. As a result, they have had to put themselves and their families at risk to provide essential services. Adding to the inflation and bad economic situation, nature has had its negative impact. A clear example of this is the earthquake that happened in Syria and Turkey. This natural disaster have left people on the edge of destruction, having so low resources and a lot of losses between those who died and others who are left with no support. Furthermore, we must also recognize the disparities between workers in different parts of the world. In many countries, Workers are subject to exploitation, abuse, and working long hours in dangerous conditions for little pay. This is inhumane. And we, as leftists, we must stand in solidarity with workers around the world and fight against the capitalist system that allows this to happen. Dear comrades, as members of the Left Party, we believe in the importance of collective bargaining and the power of unions. Workers have the right to organize and demand better wages and working conditions. Unions have played a vital role in the labor movement and have helped to secure better pay and rights for workers. We must support the growth of unions and advocate for the right of collective bargaining around the world. In conclusion, we must continue to fight for the rights of workers worldwide. It's our responsibility as leftists to speak out against injustices, including inflation, low wages, and corporate greed. Let us use this Labor Day as a reminder of the importance of labor movements and the need to stand in solidarity with workers across the world. Together, we can create a more just and equitable society. And as Martin Luther King said, all labor that uplifts humanity has dignity. Thank you.